This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
It's Oh Behave with Arden Moore, the show that teaches you how to have harmony in the household with your pets. Join Arden as she travels coast to coast to help millions better understand why cats and dogs do what they do. Get the latest scoop on famous faces, their perfectly pampered pets, and who's walking who in Rin Tin Tinseltown. From famous pet experts and best-selling authors to television and movie stars, you'll get the latest buzz from wagging tongues and tails, garner great pet tips, and have a doggone fur-flying fun time. So get ready for the pause and applause as we unleash your Oh Behave host, America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore.
Welcome to the Oh Behave show on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Arden Moore. Now, today we're going to dive into mycology. That's just a fancy word that means the scientific study of mushrooms. Bum, bum, bum. Now, big question. Are mushrooms safe for our pets? Do they have any medicinal benefits that they can unleash on our pets? We're going to find out today because on our show, we have two amazing experts on this topic. And they're representing the Real Mushrooms Company. And they are Dr. Rob Silver and Joni Kamlet. Welcome, you two.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, pet pals, get ready to discover the many benefits of mushrooms, but we have to take a break first. You know the drill, so everybody just sit, stay. We'll be right back.
Time for a pause. 4 furry ones, actually. Sit and stay. Oh Behave will be right back.
Take a bite out of your competition. Advertise your business with an ad in Pet Life Radio podcasts and radio shows. There is no other pet-related media that is as large and reaches more pet parents and pet lovers than Pet Life Radio. With over 7 million monthly listeners, Pet Life Radio podcasts are available on all major podcast platforms. And our live radio stream goes out to over 250 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, Odyssey, TuneIn, and other streaming apps. For more information on how you can advertise on the #1 pet podcast and radio network, visit PetLifeRadio.com/advertise today.
Let's talk pets on PetLifeRadio.com. Oh Behave is back with more tail-wagging ways to achieve harmony in the household with your pets. Now back to your fetching host, America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore.
Welcome back to the Oh Behave show on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Arden Moore. Now, today on our show, we have 2 top dogs in the world of pet supplements. And specifically, we're going to talk a lot about mushrooms and maybe a little bit about medicinal marijuana. So I want you first to give pause and applause to Joni Kamlet. She's a registered veterinary technician. She's a certified canine rehabilitation assistant, and she's a great gal. So welcome to the show, Joni.
I'm a fun gal.
Oh, good. I like that part too. Yeah, the show is called Oh Behave. And we also are welcoming a pioneer in the field of medicinal mushrooms and medicinal marijuana for our pets. He is, in my opinion, one of the world's top integrative veterinarians. So give it up for Dr. Rob Silver. I'm so glad you're on my show, Dr. Rob.
Me too, Arden. Thank you for that lovely intro.
It's all true.
It is true. He's
all right.
1 in a million.
Let's dive in. I mean, I love to eat mushrooms, the safe ones.
And
I love some of the names. We know about shiitake mushrooms. We've heard of reishi mushrooms. One of my favorites from you guys and doing my research, turkey tail mushroom. Dr. Rob, gobble, gobble. What is that?
Looks just like a turkey's tail. That's how it got its name. I mean, mushrooms have been around for millennia, beyond millennia. And so, as early humans, discovered them and described them and talked about them with each other, they mostly would describe them about how they look, like lion's mane looks like the mane of a lion, or a monkey head. I mean, turkey tail, if you look at it, it's got those beautiful bands of color across it, just like a turkey tail. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So these cavemen on their hieroglyphics, there should be some mushroom drawings, I bet, right?
There are a few petroglyphs that we see with a mushroom or two in there.
right.
Not the turkey tail. I think generally the agaric type of mushrooms.
Yeah. But on the,
Well,
on
we
the-
don't have anybody from caveman time to attest to that, but I'm just going to take your word for it, okay?
Oh, we actually do. There was actually
Yes.
a caveman who was found frozen in a glacier in the Alps in France. And when he thawed out, they found that he had carried two types of mushrooms with him. One was used as a fire starter. It's called tinder conch, and it can, when it's dry, it catches fire very easily. And the other was called a birch polypore, which we believe he was probably using for intestinal parasites or something like that.
yeah. They
Wow,
found,
you have heard it first here
Yeah.
on the O Behave Show. That is amazing.
by the way, his name is Otzi the Iceman, if anybody wants to look him up.
Otzi, how do you spell that, Joni?
Otzi, I think it's O-T, is it
Z-I.
O-T-S-I? O-T-Z-I.
There-
Yeah.
I can just see it now on Jeopardy. They're going to have a whole special show just dedicated to mushroom experts. You guys are going to smoke them. You're going to
Mushroom
really
fun
win this.
facts.
They call him the Iceman if they're searching for it versus the caveman.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I gotcha. So, Joni, what the heck is Real Mushrooms as a company? And I know don't sound real commercial, but let's go for it. I mean,
Yeah.
you guys do a lot of things, but you like, and I love the name Real Mushrooms. That's pretty
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah, no, Real Mushrooms, it was started about 8 years ago on the human side, and the veterinary line was launched in March of 2022
Wow.
with Dr. Silver here at the helm. And when I heard that he was going to be creating these wonderful mushroom products, I couldn't wait to join the company as well. But we call ourselves Real Mushrooms because there's, buyer beware, there's a lot of mushrooms out in the marketplace that are not actually mushrooms. And,
Thank you.
I don't know how deep you want to dive into this, but, the mushroom is a fungus has three parts, what's called the fruiting body or the actual mushroom, which is the above ground part. And then there's the spore, which is the reproductive part. And then there's the mycelium, which is the underground, even though mushrooms are, fungi are their own kingdom. They're not plants, but the closest you can compare it to is like the roots of a tree or the roots of a plant. That's the underground part, the mycelium. And there's a lot of companies out there that are making mycelium products and calling it a mushroom. And there's a lot of, I'm not going to speak to the quality, it's more the transparency around that, which is, let's say somebody said, would you like an apple? And handed you the roots of an apple tree. That just wouldn't,
No.
just wouldn't jive. So, just because of the transparency and the fact that we sell mushrooms, we don't,
Right.
we don't sell mycelium. We don't, there's no filler, which unfortunately the mycelium, it grows in grain or rice, and there's no way to separate it from what it's growing in. So they grind it up. We call ourselves Real Mushrooms because we actually have real mushrooms in our product.
I also think you could be called Fun Guys.
Well, yeah, that's why I said I'm a fun gal, and Rob's a fun guy.
Rob's
I'm
a fun guy.
gal.
I'm the fun guy, she's the fun gal.
Yeah.
Gotcha. We do want to do a salute, though, because there's a gentleman, Jeff Chilton. He grew up in the Pacific Northwest, and he's Canada, and now
Yes.
his son, Sky. So, Dr. Rob, tell us about these two. It's two generations.
I met Jeff about 10 years ago because I invited him to come speak at a veterinary conference because he is the global expert on medicinal mushrooms and particularly on medicinal mushroom cultivation. So he's been cultivating a variety of different medicinal mushrooms for about 30 years. And
That's amazing.
and been harvesting them and extracting them and growing them under organic standards and then selling them to other companies to use in their products. And as the interest in mushrooms increased amongst people, his son Sky and his other son Adam reached out to him and said, let's use your mushroom extracts, which are excellent, and let's start a company and create products for people, which they did. And in 8 years, they have become incredibly popular as the mushroom extract to go to when you want to do something good for your health. So I was with another company, and when that company moved on and I moved on, I reached out to Jeff, and Jeff introduced me to Sky, and they said, oh, we were just thinking about getting something with animals. Good timing. So, and then when I heard Joni was joining, because I've known Joni for many years, We've worked in this industry, the animal health industry, for many, many years. And when I heard she was joining, it was like, wow, this is like the dream job,
Yeah.
Here it is,
The dream team.
We make a
Fun
great
guy,
team.
fun girl.
Yeah.
And Joni, I love I've heard you say that mushrooms, you love them so much they will heal the planet. What do you mean by that?
I truly believe that. I mean, mushrooms, there's between 2 and when we're talking, I'll just say fungi, which includes molds and yeast, there's between 2 and 6 million different varieties. And,
wow.
Mushrooms are not, you can use them for culinary purposes. So you can eat them, you can use them for medicine, but there's also mushrooms that are cleaning up Chernobyl. There are mushrooms growing in Chernobyl that are literally consuming the radiation. And, they think turning that into energy. One of my very favorite studies was a Japanese diaper study. They were trying to figure out what to do with the abundance of disposable diapers that were ending up in landfills. And they did an experiment where they sterilized the diapers and they injected them with oyster mushroom spore. And the diapers actually grew oyster mushrooms. They consumed the diaper. They used the diaper as food and grew oyster mushrooms. And these very brave scientists actually ended up eating the oyster mushrooms. So, they're the great recycler.
Wow.
They're now burying people in mushroom coffins. It's like, let's not do the embalming, all these things that, that are bad for the planet. Let's just put ourselves in a little mushroom sack and bury ourselves and become one with the earth. And that's what I mean when I talk
you have to both admit we're having fun, but we're also learning.
Yeah.
And this is the part that's important. I am a little bit of a goofball, but years ago, I actually worked at Rodale Press and I did books on herbs and all that back when they had the Rodale family was running prevention magazines and Men's Health. So I've always been intrigued by them. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, let's kind of look at some of the ways specific types of mushrooms can help our dogs, cats in different ways and other companion animals. But we got to take a commercial break. So if you guys know the drill, be fun guys, sit, stay. We'll be right back.
Time for a walk on the red carpet, of course. All Behave will be back in a flash right after these messages.
Molly, here's your dinner. Zeus, that's not your food.
Don't let that happen to your precious cat. Elevate your cat's eating experience with the Cat Tree Tray. The Cat Tree Tray keeps your cat's food off the floor and conveniently located on the cat tree. It's the perfect way to eat. It's a beautiful wrought iron tray that easily attaches to your cat tree and keeps dogs and other critters out of your cat's dish. A must for multi-pet households. There's a 6-inch tray for large bowls and a 4-inch tray for smaller bowls. Purchase your Cat Tree Tray today. Go right now to cattreetray.com. That's cattreetray.com. cattreetray.com.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Hi there, I'm Kate Walton. I hope you're going to tune in and listen to O Behave on Pet Life Radio with Arden Moore, because she's a delight.
We're back from the lot. Just checked the paper and we had a record showing at the box. The letterbox, that is. Now back to O Behave. Here's Arden.
Welcome back to the O Behave Show on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Arden Moore. I am getting schooled on all things mushroom by two of the arguably top experts in that category. And of course, we're speaking of Dr. Rob Silver and Joni Kamlet. They're both with the company called The Real Mushrooms. We learned about the man behind that and his sons, Jeff and Sky. And what was the other son's name? Adam. Of course, it wasn't Eve. It was Adam. Okay. All right. All right. So, Dr. Rob, you have dedicated, and you're an ageless wonder, so I'm saying this with kindness, 4 decades to veterinary medicine, and you took it the traditional route, and you said, you know what? I need to spread my wings. I need to look into some holistic modalities, integrative medicine. And one of the things I was really impressed with you is back in the 90s, you were one of the first to be certified by the great guy from the University of Florida in acupuncture. And I cannot say his name, so you need to pronounce it for me.
Shen Xie is what, But I was certified in acupuncture in 1993.
That's impressive.
And a lot of people ask me, well, why did you even get involved in all this integrative holistic medicine stuff when conventional medicine looks like it's doing a pretty good job? And after I graduated vet school, which was in 1982, I really thought I'd been taught everything I needed to do battle with all the diseases that our pets would have. But after a couple of years, I started getting frustrated. And it really was that frustration that drove my search to find new tools and new ways of looking at my patients' chronic diseases that could be better in terms of solving them, or at least providing them with better quality of life, than the conventional practices I had been taught. Now, I'm totally on board with conventional medicine. I think it's really important. I think it needs to be practiced properly. I think probably it's gotten a bad rap because it's been practiced improperly, with using dosages too high or the inappropriate drugs and things like that, not really looking at the patient. And that's what I learned, is that you have to look at the patient. You really need to look at the animal and not treat it like a diagnosis, but treat it like an animal that has a disease, and you need to treat the animal in order to treat the disease. So that's what got me interested in these things. And I started with diet, and then I moved into herbs, and herbs has been a great place to be. I've done that many years. And back when we started getting the legalization of cannabis, I got into that full tilt. And, and still am very much into it, except that I'm working for a company now that is entirely all in when it comes to the medicinal mushrooms. So it was a logical extension of what I was doing to go to the mushrooms. As Real Mushrooms was created, we now had better sources for products that would have the good quality mushrooms in it. Because prior to that, there really were not many companies that provide those kinds of products, even though we've known that medicinal mushrooms are very valuable to the health of people and to their pets.
And Joni, I love how it's all about how it's sourced, how it's prepared. The efficacy matters, because you can get a mushroom in one place and another place, and how it's processed and all that makes a big difference. So can you talk about, on the site, and everybody go to it after our show, it's easy, realmushrooms.com. You're going to see chews, you're going to see capsules, you're going to see some powder form. You mentioned before, no grain, it's all 100% vegan. But I'm looking at it, and you're saying that some of these products, based on how they're prepared, can help boost the immunity. Tell us some of the things that mushrooms can do for our dogs and other pets.
Yeah, well, pretty much all mushrooms are immune modulating. So they're gonna support the immune system. In addition, when I say all mushrooms, at least the medicinal mushrooms that we know of, they're all anti-neoplastic. So they have anti-cancer properties. Some more than others.
Also, I want to say this word because you're gonna laugh. It's a powerful antioxidant, ergothioneine,
which is, we like to say it's the most important vitamin that nobody's ever heard of.
We call it ergo.
We call it ergo for short. Yeah,
ergo. I would do that too. I'll name my next cat Ergo. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, and ergo's amazing, and it's something our body, and any mammal's body, has receptors for it, but the only source you can get it from is mushrooms. So It's clear that mushrooms, going back as hunters and gatherers, we would eat mushrooms. And then as we became more industrialized, we started to consume mushrooms less. But I like to look at mushrooms as like health insurance. They bring a vigilance and a vitality to our system. And I'll leave it up to Doc Rob to go a little more into the science behind how that happens. But
we talked about boosting the immune system, helping the heart. There's some ingredients that help the liver. But a couple ones that are really near and dear to a lot of our listeners climbing out of COVID is we have a lot of pets that have stress and anxiety and seasonal allergies. So Dr. Rob, take over the leash on that one.
Well, you mentioned a couple of different conditions. For stress and anxiety, we look at a mushroom called lion's mane. I mentioned it before. It's a very unusual looking mushroom. It's got these kind of looks like hairs or spines coming down from it. It has traditionally been used for digestive system issues and been used very well for those. But recently, since we've been able to start cultivating and we're learning more about it, we've discovered that it also improves memory, it reduces stress, and also improves cognition in general. So right now, lion's mane is the most popular mushroom in North America because of its ability to help with memory. There even are some studies in early Alzheimer's that show patients the progress of the disease slowing down or showing some improvement in mild Alzheimer's. So everyone's looking at it with a great deal of interest for that, and it is something that would be very good for our pets. In fact, it's so good that I formulated it into a soft chew to make it easy, because if you've got a pet that's stressed, you're not going to want to chase them down and
stick that pill down their throat. Yeah.
And relax.
And scream while you're doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't work for me,
No, it would make the dog roar.
Or the cat.
Soft chews are cool. Yeah. They're tasty. They're very tasty. They contain the lion's mane, but they also contain another mushroom called reishi. You mentioned reishi earlier.
Right.
Reishi is also known for its calming properties. In fact, it's used commonly by Zen masters to aid in meditation. So I put those two together in the soft chew, and then I put a few other things in there to make sure they were going to work. For instance, a tryptophan and theanine, which are very important in creating serotonin in the body, which is relaxing and calming. I put some herbs in there that are calming herbs like valerian and catnip and lemon balm and passion flower. And so the combination of the amino acids and the calming herbs and the mushrooms in that soft chew, it works really well. Really well. We call it relax mushroom chews.
I like that. Do you ever feel like you're sort of a orchestra conductor, only you don't have players in front of you? You have all these wonderful herbs or mushrooms, and you're crafting a symphony of good health.
Thank you. That's very poetic.
I know it came out of me. I don't know where that came from.
Amazing.
Wherever it came from, keep it coming. I'm what they would call a product developer or product.
I like that.
And so it's like being a cook, and I am a cook as well. I love the creative process in the kitchen, when I don't have to cook, when I can enjoy cooking. And so for me, it's kind of putting together that perfect combination of ingredients to create that perfect outcome. And so
I like that.
Thank you for.
Well, I want people to check them out. It is at realmushrooms.com. Joni, you've had quite a career too. You've been a veterinary technician, which is, to me, frontline. I love all my vet techs. I'm a master instructor in pet first aid, and I do work with a lot of veterinarians and vet techs and first responders, and we help people learn about pet first aid in a fun, obviously goofy, but credentialed way. And I'm just wondering, because you also want pets to heal nicely, so you got into canine rehab.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So for those that don't understand what canine rehab is, it's like a animal physical therapist. So yeah, I was always interested in older dogs and movement. And I went straight into integrative vet medicine when I became a veterinary technician in my 40s. So
good for you.
Yeah. Late in life, loved it, and got into the canine rehabilitation. So, we had an underwater treadmill. We worked with acupuncture, chiropractic, laser, pulse signal therapy, and it's just amazing to see dogs that would come in, typically in rehab, you see dogs that have been hit by cars, lots of long back dogs like dachshunds and others, unfortunately, lots of Frenchies that, that have sudden paralysis, amputations, etc. And sometimes these dogs, they're rolled in, they can't walk. And, within a few weeks, they're moving, walking, back to almost 100%.
That's a gift.
So a lot of times in veterinary medicine and other things, you can't see a result. You just assume the animal's better. But what I love about rehab is that you actually it's very specific. You see something.
I like that. From someone who just had a knee replacement surgery and I'm walking great now. I totally get it. Yeah. I bark with joy now. I bark with joy. I
love it.
So the thing about mushrooms, what's the deal now is the word getting out among your colleagues, Dr. Rob, veterinarians, Are they finally opening the door to integrative a little bit more? Or where, crystal ball, do you see mushrooms' role in health for our pets in the next 5 years?
As far as integrative health, yes, more and more vet students are wanting classes and electives
Good.
and health. I do some teaching at a couple of veterinary schools, and this is primarily what they bring me in for, is to
Good.
use these integrative concepts to the vet students themselves. In fact, last night I did a webinar on mushrooms for the vet students at Lincoln Memorial University in Tennessee. So what's happening is that more veterinarians, as they're becoming introduced to the concept that mushrooms may not just be the poisonous things in the backyard that
Yeah.
got into after the rainfall, but actually may have a benefit in terms of helping their patients who may not be responding as well as they would want them to because they've got such complicated chronic diseases. So yes, and so I've been speaking widely to veterinary conferences. Joni and I offer lunch and learns in which we
Nice.
virtually into the clinic, and we talk about the mushrooms. We buy them lunch, and so we've got a cap.
Are there mushrooms on the plate?
I think generally not, but I think that
Oh.
Depends on the location.
I
Yeah.
guess if it's a pizza or something, maybe, but anyway, so no, and veterinarians are opening up more and more. There was a study that was published in 2012 and then a follow-up study in 2022 using turkey tail to treat hemangiosarcoma, which is that terrible splenic
Yes.
dogs get, and they were able to get some positive results. And so that got everybody's attention and increased the use of turkey tail substantially for cancer in dogs and cats. So, we're looking for more studies. We need more studies. I'm hopeful that working with Real Mushrooms, that we'll be able to get some studies funded. That'll be very important to veterinarians. There's some things that are interesting, like you asked about different mushrooms and what do they do. Like one study I'm working on right now with a couple of equine vets is the effect of the cordyceps mushroom on an endocrine disease, a hormonal disease that horses get called Cushing's disease. When dogs get it, so we may want to at it in dogs, but cordyceps also has the ability to protect the kidneys. And so I'm also looking at getting a study started in kitty cats and starting them with cordyceps and seeing if we can modify the disease if they're diagnosed with it, or two, can we use it preventatively and reduce the incidence before it even begins? Because I'd much rather treat something before it becomes a disease, than dealing with end stage issues, with a disease.
Well, and let me jump in because people are tuning in, have cats, dogs, and other critters. We have people all over the world tuning in. And that is kind of the kiss of death for the senior kitties. And I have an 18-year-old cat, Mikey, and a 14-year-old cat, Baxter. And I always worry about their kidneys, making sure they get enough hydration. We've got a pet fountain that they love. We have organic bone broth, no salt we're trying to give them. I think as pet parents, I think you've got a whole bunch of people coming up now that are going to be looking to people like you and the Real Mushroom groups and saying, what can I do in addition to their required vaccinations or whatever to do the best for their bodies? Would you agree?
I do. And, we like to gift the hosts for the podcast that we attend with our products. Given the number of cats that you have and what you've just expressed, maybe we can send you some cordyceps.
Yes, absolutely.
Try out yourself. The thing about cordyceps, because cats are cats, and I love cats, but cordyceps is related to truffles and it's related to morels, two of the most tasty mushrooms out there. And so the cordyceps extract, it is tasty. I think it tastes a little bit like toast. And so to blend it in, starting with a little bit to begin with, into their wet food could be a very easy thing to do.
Mikey and Baxter say, wow. Yeah, we'll try it. I've written 4 books during COVID. I now have 27 books out there. So some of them sell. It's kind of interesting. But I have written the dog behavior answer book, if you have critters. And I actually convinced my publisher to get Kona on the cover.
I love it.
And then the cat behavior answer book. And Pet Safety Cat Casey made the cover. So
Oh, goodness.
after the show, we'll get your addresses and we will autograph them and send them to you. They'll be worth a nickel more. So we'll do that. But we're getting close to the end, and I do want to see if there's some parting messages both of you had. I know we'll have to have you back on, both of you, but because I went to Global Pet Expo, I've been to Super Zoo, every other table, it seems like, a CBD oil and medicinal marijuana. I'm kind of from a newspaper reporter, investigative for 20 years. If your mother tells you she loves you, check it out. And my feeling is I would trust somebody like a Rob Silver with medicinal marijuana than some company that doesn't have the history of research that you have. So there's a lot of little dangers that you need to dodge, right?
There are. Well, yes. And I would say I would not recommend medicinal marijuana for a pet because medicinal marijuana contains THC.
Okay.
And dogs are extremely sensitive to that. Cats less so, but why take that chance? But what we're really talking about is the non-psychoactive part of the cannabis plant, which is so valuable and so healthy. We're talking about the CBD. We're talking about the CBG, which is new, CBDA, the acidic cannabinoids, all of these, CBN. And of course, cannabis has more than just those. It has terpenes as well. And terpenes, that the smell and the odor, but they also have a biological activity. Mushrooms have terpenes as well, and that's one cause for mushrooms activity as well, as the terpenes are very powerful molecules. So I think CBD is something that has been proven to be quite safe in the dog and in the cat. THC, some animals tolerate it, but I think better, you're safer.
Why don't we just say no?
And the kinds of things that we're finding helpful to use CBD for include stress. So one thing I have found is when I combine those relaxed mushroom chews that I described to you with the lion's mane and reishi and the amino acids and herbs, when I add CBD to that, it works even better. It's even more profound relaxation, but not sedation, just relaxation.
Yes. We don't want zombie pets. No, we don't want zombie pets. What's your final message you want to give out, Joni? I appreciate both of you being here today. We're just skimming the surface.
Yeah. I guess my final message would be that don't wait until your pet is older and having issues to get started proactively adding healthy, whether it's adding healthy foods, adding fresh foods to the bowl, adding mushrooms, any kind of supplementation. It's just like us. We live in a world where there's so many toxins, et cetera, that we all need a little extra in our pets too. And, mushrooms are a great option for that daily proactive product, but do something. Don't wait till it's too late, because the wheels start to come off the bus before you start seeing it.
I know. I agree with you. Every day I'm with my furry Brady bunch. I'm a happy camper because they all make me a better human. Everybody, it's so honored to have on our show today, Dr. Rob Silver and Joni Kamlet. They're with the Real Mushrooms. Please check them out. But they do so much in the pet world and beyond that you're going to be amazed that they even take a cat nap maybe once in a while. I don't know. I don't think they sleep, but we'll dive into that the next time they come because we've just skimmed the surface of some knowledge that they've shared with us. I also want to thank my producer, Mark Winter. He is the executive producer of Pet Life Radio. We have been on the air since 2007. That means we are the longest running pet podcast on the planet. Please check out the other shows on Pet Life Radio. Please subscribe to my growing YouTube channel. It is Arden Moore. It's free, and there's over 600 videos right now. These guys are going to be on it later, so check it out. And until next time, this is your flea-free host, Arden Moore, delivering just 2 words to all you 2, 3, and 4-leggers out there. Oh, behave.
Coast to coast and around the world, it's All Behave with Arden Moore. Find out why cats and dogs do the things they do and get the latest buzz from wagging tongues and tails in Rin Tin Tinseltown. From famous pet experts and best-selling authors to television and movie stars, you'll get great tail-wagging pet tips and have a fur-flying fun time. All Behave with America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore. Every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.